Hello everyone, in this video lecture we are going to find a simplified Boolean expression for the mentioned question here. Now this is the question. Simplify the following Boolean functions by first finding the essential prime implicants. Now in this mentioned functions, firstly we need to find out the essential prime implicants, and after that if any prime implicants are possible, so then we go to find the prime implicants. From that one we need to find a simplified Boolean expression. Now here firstly we will consider the first function, that is function of a comma b comma c comma d is equal to sum of minterms mentioned here are 0, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 13 and 15. Now we already learned the minterms assignment in the 4 variable Karnaugh map. So by using that one, here we need to assign whatever the minterms mentioned in this first function. For those minterms we need to assign in that respective cell. So this is the 4 variable Karnaugh map we considered to find out the essential prime implicants. So for that one, firstly we need to assign ones here. So we assign ones. Then we need to identify the essential prime implicant. Firstly, to find out essential prime implicant, we need to group the adjacent ones. If we consider here there is a M0 minterm, M2 minterm, M8 minterm, M10 minterm. With these 4 ones, we can make a group. So this group is going to give a product term. That product term is known as prime implicant. So in this prime implicant, if there is any minterm which is not covered by other prime implicant, then that prime implicant is known as essential prime implicant. Now once we will check it out. Now here if we consider M0 here and M2, these two minterms have another possibility to make a group. Suppose if we consider M0, this M4 cell is adjacent to this M0 cell. So we can make a group here by considering these two ones, and we can consider M2 and M6. So there is a chance to cover this M0 and M2 cell can be covered by other prime implicant. But here if we consider M8 and M10, there is no other chance to make a group. So if we write the prime implicant for these 4 ones by considering M0, M2, M8, M10, the product term is equal to D bar is common and D bar is common. So this is the prime implicant by considering M0, M2, M8, M10. Now this prime implicant we can definitely say that it is a essential prime implicant, because here M8 and M10 minterms have no possibility to make another group. So there are 2 minterms here which is not covered by other prime implicant. So this is the essential prime implicant. Now if we see the other ones here by considering M5 minterm, M7, M13 and M15. Now these 4 ones we are making a group. Now if we observe this group, this M5 and M7 has a chance to make a group with other adjacent ones, like by considering M4 and M6. But here this M13 and M15 has no chance to make a group with other adjacent ones. So this group is also a essential prime implicant. So the product term can be written as B and D. So here there are 2 minterms which are not covered by other prime implicant. Those are M13 and M15. Then this prime implicant is a essential prime implicant. Now if we observe this Karnaugh map, there are 2 other minterms which are not covered by the groups. So here we need to cover M4 M4 and M6. Now, if we observe, to cover this M4 and M6, we have two possibilities. Now, if we see here, we can make a group by considering M0, M4 and M2 and M6. And we have another chance to make a group by considering M4, M5, M7 and M6. Here we need to consider only one group. So, suppose if we write the prime implicant for these four ones, it can be equal to A bar and B. Now coming to this group, if you want to write the product term, it will be equal to A bar and B bar. Now, in these two prime implicants, we need to consider only one. Because we need to reduce the redundant product terms. Because the Karnaugh map main goal is we need to find a simplified Boolean expression. So here the simplified Boolean expression for this function, it will be equal to B bar plus B and D plus A bar and B. Or we can write here B bar plus BD plus, we can take this prime implicant, A bar, D bar. So, this is the simplified Boolean expression for the mentioned first function here. So, here the essential prime implicants are B bar, D bar, comma, BD, and the prime implicants are A bar, B bar, or we can take A bar, B. Now, this is the procedure we need to follow to find out the essential prime implicants. Now, we will consider the second question, that is function of A, B, C, D is equal to sum of the minterms mentioned here 0, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, 11, 14 and 15. Then we will simplify this function also. Now, here to simplify this function, we need to consider a 4-variable Karnaugh map. So, this is the 4-variable Karnaugh map we are considering to find out essential prime implicants and prime implicants also. Now, here, whatever the minterms mentioned in the second Boolean function, for all those minterms, we need to assign 1 in that respective cell. So, here we assign the M0 minterm in this place and M2 here in this place, M3 in this place, and similarly we need to assign all those midterms in those respective places. Now we need to combine the adjacent ones. So we need to make a group with adjacent ones. So if we consider here M0, M2, M8, M10, by considering these 4 midterms, we can make a group here. So, for this group, if we want to write a product term, that means it is a prime implicant, we can write it as here B bar will be common and D bar is also common. If we observe this group, there is 2 midterms here, M0 and M8 midterm, which is not covered by other prime implicant because there is no chance to combine with other ones because here there is no one. If we consider it, here there is no one. So there is no chance to combine with other adjacent ones. So this prime implicant is known as essential prime implicant. Now if we consider another prime implicant, like by combining adjacent ones here M14, M14, M15, M10 and M11. With these 4 ones, we can make a group here. So the prime implicant can be A will be common and C will be common. So the prime implicant for the 4 midterms like M10, M11, M14 and M15. We can make a group and the prime implicant is going to be AC. If we observe this prime implicant, here there is a midterm like M14 which is not covered by other prime implicant. Means at least there should be one minterm which is not covered by other prime implicant means it is a essential prime implicant. Now it is clear to all of you. Now coming to the other group, here the M5 and M7. With these two ones we can make a group here. Now the prime implicant can be equal to A bar, B and D, and here also we can consider this M5 minterm which is not covered by other prime implicant means this is also a essential prime implicant. Here there is one minterm, that is M3. They have two chances to make a group by considering M3, M2, M10 and M11. Or we can make a group like by considering M3, M7, M15 and M11. So here I am making a group M3, M7, M15 and M11. So for this one, the prime implicant will be CD. So here the essential prime implicants are B bar, D bar and AC and A bar, BD. Now prime implicants can be like CD will be the prime implicant because this is not an essential prime implicant. M3 has two chances, M7 has two chances, M15 has two chances, M11 is also have two chances to make a group here. So this is the normal prime implicant, or we can consider the other prime implicant can be like this. By considering 4 ones, the prime implicant can be B bar C. B bar C. So the simplified function can be B bar, D bar, or in the simplified expression, the essential prime implicants, all the prime implicants we need to take definitely, and the prime implicants, whatever the prime implicant required, that prime implicant only we need to take in the simplified Boolean expression. Now we will simplify the third function also, that will be function of A, B, C, D is equal to sum of minterms are 1, 3, 4, 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. To simplify this function, we need to consider a 4-variable Karnaugh map, and whatever the minterms mentioned in the function, for all those minterms we need to assign ones in that respective cell. Now this is the whatever the minterms mentioned in this function, we assign 1 in that respective places. Now we need to group the adjacent ones. Now if we observe, we can make a group by considering minterms M4, M5, M12 and M13. Now if we want to write a product term, nothing but prime implicant, we can write this as B will be common in row wise, and in column wise C bar will be common. Now if we want to write a product term for this group with the minterms M15, M14, M11 and M10. Now the product term in the row wise, the common variable will be A. In column wise, the common variable will be C. So the prime implicant BC bar is essential or not? Now we will check it out. Now here, if we observe the M4 minterm, there is no chance to make a group here. So in this prime implicant, if there is one minterm which is not covered by other prime implicant means it is a essential one. So M4 minterm is not covering by any other prime implicant, then this prime implicant is a essential one. If we observe this prime implicant here, M14 or M10. M14 has a chance by considering these four ones, but here if we consider M10, there is no chance to make another group by considering this minterm. So this is the minterm which is not covered by other prime implicant, or we may consider M11 also. This one also we are not grouping with any adjacent one. So here there are two ones which are not covered by other prime implicant. Then this is also a essential prime implicant. Now we will write the prime implicant for these two minterms, that is here it is forming a pair by considering M1 and M3. The product term can be A bar, B bar from row side and D will be from column side. Now if we observe this prime implicant is essential or not. Now if we want to make a group, we may consider M1, M3, or we can make a group by considering M1 and M5. So two chances here, or we may consider M3 or M11. So this prime implicant is not a essential because it has a more number of chances to make a group. Now the simplified Boolean function can be, we can written as by considering the essential prime implicants, these two, BC bar plus AC, and the prime implicant A bar, B bar and D. Now this is the procedure we need to follow to find out the simplified Boolean functions. Thank you for watching this video.